We are Nicki and Carlo, and our family live in Positano, Italy, nearly 500 steps from the road, but surrounded by fruit and olive trees and with a fabulous view. Our garden overlooks the sea and we grow our own food. We show you what life is really like on the Amalfi Coast. So please subscribe and welcome to the Positano Diaries. We're back home after a week in Tuscany. House hunting is a funny thing. It's so easy to get swept up in the euphoria of finding a new property, imagining yourself living there and all the possibilities it may bring. There was one house that I absolutely fell in love with. It was so beautiful, but right at the very tip-top end of my budget. It needed a lot of work and was probably too remote. And reluctantly, I told myself it needed a big, young family to fill it with time and money to look after it. And I let it go. We found another house that was an 80s build. It was an ugly pink building, but the land around it was fantastic. It was in a perfect location. It was already divided into various apartments with outbuildings and a small olive grove. The price was fantastic. There was so much for such a great price, and we enthusiastically walked around exploring, imagining what we would do with each room and how we could make the ugly facade more pleasing to look at. We laughed at the thought of showing it on YouTube and the reactions we'd get from disappointed viewers. I even lost sleep over it the night after we viewed the house. I woke up hating that house. Yet I kept thinking about how satisfying it would be to turn it into something beautiful. And I still can't get it out of my head. But back home, the sun was shining. And we walked every day, looping around town and down to the beach where we would sit with the sun on our faces. Could we really buy another property away from here? Could we divide our time between two different regions, two different homes, two different lifestyles? Such a big decision, such a lot to talk about. If only there was road access near our home here in Positano, then we'd never have to leave. But one day we will become trapped at home, unable to climb easily the 500 steps. We know we have to keep looking for an alternative somewhere. The funny thing is just the idea of buying a property has given us a new passion. We talk more, fantasizing and problem solving about where, how and when we could do it. Carlo and I thrive when we have a big project ahead of us. Exciting times may be ahead, but for now we must also enjoy and appreciate our home here in Positano. For quite a while now, I have wanted to redo this area because it's just messy. I mean, that's just a big mess. And I know it can be much, much prettier. It all needs a bit of repainting. Now, I've asked a few times, I've mentioned that I was thinking about painting the door, and tons of people don't want me to because they love this colour. And yes, it's a beautiful colour. It's been there for 10 years. Looking a little bit shabby. It does need to be repainted or touched up at some rate. Yeah, I want to sort of redo the whole area and just zhuzh it up a bit. So I'm going to go down to the hardware store and look at paint colours. Yesterday I asked on Instagram what people thought I should do. And maybe I shouldn't have done because I got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other people's opinions on what I should do, and nobody agreed with anybody, of course. So whatever I do, about 96% of you won't agree with. But that doesn't matter because in the end this is my house and I'm the one that gets to see it every day, and I'm still not sure what I want to do, but I do have an idea that nobody actually suggested. So I'm going to go to the hardware store and start looking at paint colours. And we also have this beautiful new edition, which was made for me by Lenny and Rosie, Elizabeth's daughters, and it's lovely, and I think that should definitely go somewhere on the wall. It actually matches the vase really, really well up there, so I'm taking that into consideration as well. I've just got up the top of the steps and Carlo is up here with his carrello. This is his step climbing little machine, and he's just had a delivery of pellets for our heater at home and he's got to get these back down home now.
Sì, il prezzo è sceso. Prima costavano 12 euro, adesso costano 8 euro a sacco.
Oh, okay.
Ok, quindi è meglio.
Yeah. So no donkeys this year. We have used mules before to get these down with the big delivery. I'll link that video here. But this time we're doing it bit by bit, and Carlo is going to do all the work, so he'll be exhausted after this because this is pretty heavy to get down 500 steps.
Chi lo vuole sapere, sono 16 sacchi, 15 kg al sacco sono... Oddio, adesso sono perso. Taglia, devo fare un attimo il conto. Abbiamo fatto il conto. Quindi sono 16 sacchi a 15 kg, sono 240 kg.
Now, of course, he has to tie it all up with the rope, otherwise when he's going down the steps they'll all fall out. It's very juddery and very jerky, so they've got to be tied up well. Okay, I'm going to leave him to do that and take that back down. It'll probably take him about half an hour or so, and I'm going to jump on my scooter and go over to the hardware store. Now I'm sitting here on the step outside the shop in daylight. Noisy! Okay. Sitting here on the shop, looking at it in the daylight. It's very hard to decide, but I've got an idea. I've just been given this, so now you've got even more colours to choose from. So I'm going to sit here and look through these.
Oggi scendiamo in spiaggia perché ci sta carnevale. Io sono una infermiera e tu sei una principessa. E come si chiama la principessa? Aurora.
E io sono una goccinella. They started from Parco Cascone, which is here behind, and now they are moving down to the beach. Here, è Saulo.
Sì.
È Saulo. Ma tu l'inverno fai il mago e in estate fai il capitano.
Anche il mago nell'estate.
Bene!
In the end, I decided to go just slightly bluer, less aqua. I love the idea of green, but in the summer there's so much green in the garden already that the door would almost be camouflaged. But I did paint the inside of the door a pale green to match the kitchen better. I had to find a way to store the fruit and veg baskets that I bought last week in Tuscany. This is what we've come up with for now, but if you have a better idea, do let us know.
Facciamo un test. Prendi anche i cestini. Qui?
Sì.
Vabbè, quello deve rimanere là perché è rotto, non lo uso.
Un giorno lo puoi togliere via e prendere un altro, meglio, no?
Sì.
Ok, allora facciamo una cosa, per il momento lo annodo qua e poi vediamo se vuoi fare quella cosa che si allunga. Sono appena tornato dal giardino e guardate cosa ho trovato. Sono solo le 6 del pomeriggio.
Okay, we haven't done any cooking for ages. I've just got in from doing the shopping. In fact, Carlo's still not back with his half of the shopping that he's carrying down, the heavy half. And I'm gonna make a quick lunch because I haven't had much time. It's already 2 o'clock. I'm gonna do pasta with butternut squash and gamberi, prawns, shrimp. So Sky's already weighed out the pasta for me. I have grated some butternut squash and we've got some shrimp defrosting in the fridge, the sink. And you'll want some parsley too, so I've just been up to the greenhouse to pick that. I have this lovely garlic press, which was actually my dad's, and I kept going on about how good it was, and he eventually got the hint and let me take it home with me. So, I'm just going to do that. It's quite a stormy day today. This is the view out of the kitchen window. You can see the storm clouds over there. C'era un altro scatto d'ansia. Hopefully, with this, we'll finish off the wall outside. I'll show you when it's done. So I'm sort of vaguely following a recipe here, but I've never done it before, so bear with me if it all goes wrong. But I'm cooking the pumpkin or the squash with water in the pan so that it goes, I want it soft and creamy so it coats the pasta like a sauce. And then I'm going to throw the prawns in, chop up some parsley and stick that in too, and then add the pasta once it's cooked. Very simple. And then I'll get on with doing my wall outside and show you the finished results. I put the pasta on to boil. I'm just using tubetti because I don't have troffia, which I should be using. Put the prawns in, put some parsley in, it's all nicely bubbling away. Once the pasta's done, I'll just mix it together. I keep forgetting that I'm supposed to be filming this. So I've just added it all together now. That's pretty much it. Easy peasy. The most important thing is that you should add like a big ladleful or half a cupful of the pasta water and then mix it all together so it goes creamy. Without the pasta water, it will be far too dry.
Devo dire che mi piace come è venuta. brava. Quello è quello che mi piace di più però. Quello di Roserleni, bellissimo. Abbiamo avuto una settimana terribile di pioggia e vento e comunque un tempo brutto. Finalmente oggi è uscito il sole e andiamo fuori per una passeggiata nel bosco e vi farò vedere quel punto che vi ho detto l'altra volta dove sono questi giardini nascosti.
And while we're doing that, I'm also going to show you part of our daily dog walk, which is more like an assault course. So it's quite steep here, so we've got a rope to hold on to, which you really need, otherwise you'll end up falling down.
Proverò a fare lo stesso senza mantenermi sulla funa e con il telefono in mano, vediamo se funziona.
This is all the water that pours from the top of the mountain and accumulates and runs down the mountain, and by the time it gets here it's very, very strong, so it would be very dangerous to cross. So we can only do this when we're sure that it's not going to rain.
Sì, adesso c'è il sole, non piove, quindi possiamo passare in tutta sicurezza. In realtà questo sentiero ha anche una storia dietro. Qui è successa una cosa tantissimi anni fa, qualcosa che mi ha raccontato mio padre e ugualmente me l'ha raccontato anche Michele, il nostro vicino.
So when I used to come down here, before I knew about this story, I always felt a bit scared in this part. I just had a feeling, and I'm not that sort of person. I'm very, very practical. So it was a bit strange that every time I got to this area, I felt a bit as if I was being watched or there was somebody there. And I told Carlo one day and he laughed and said, "I've never told you this story before, have I?"
Sì, è vero. Non l'avevo mai raccontata perché non ci avevo mai pensato di raccontartela.
Yeah. So many, many years ago, there was a husband and wife that lived somewhere in this area. Only that they didn't get on that well together, and the woman had a lover. And she was really fed up of her husband, and they were scared that one day the husband would find out about the lover and he would come and try and kill them. Apparently he was quite a big, violent man, so they were a little bit scared of him. So they hatched a plan. They decided that they would lie in wait, hidden in the woods one day while he was out chopping wood. And so this is what they did. They got a big rifle and they hid in the woods, and he came along collecting wood, and they jumped out and they shot him.
Bam bam!
But he didn't die straight away.
Non subito, almeno.
It was quite gory and they had to get up close and shoot him again. And this time they killed him. And they thought they'd get away with it. Only somebody had been watching.
E poi qualcuno ha visto questa storia. Ovviamente dopo qualche giorno che ha fatto finta la moglie che il marito non tornava a casa e lei era andata a cercarlo, poi è andato dai carabinieri e poi i carabinieri hanno fatto un'indagine e hanno scoperto che qualcuno sapeva, quindi alla fine ha parlato e queste due persone sono andate a finire in prigione. E lei praticamente dalla vita che ha fatto dopo dalla prigione, e lei il marito tornava sempre nei sogni e la perseguitava fino a che non ha perso completamente la ragione e niente, è diventata pazza.
So we think he's still here in these woods, hunting them down to this day. And that's what I feel sometimes when I'm walking home late at night on my own through the woods.
Poi c'è la storia, quella diciamo dei fantasmi, dove che magari è un po' diciamo di suggestione, dove tutte le persone che passano di qua su questa strada, su questo sentiero dove passava quest'uomo, poi la notte sogna quest'uomo che cercava aiuto, cercava di essere difeso, diciamo salvato. E questa è la storia dei fantasmi.
Right, let's get out of here. Get on with our walk.
Wow, non è che il fantasma che ti sta seguendo.
How else would it be? Look.
Quelli sono
Early for these.
noi li
Presto.
chiamiamo i fiori di bambino quelli. Da adesso in poi vado da solo perché Nicki non vuole venire qua, giustamente è un po' pericoloso, quindi vado da solo. Ci vediamo dopo se sopravvivo.
You're staying with me. I don't want you going there either. It's far too dangerous. It is literally a pathway hanging off like a 300-meter drop. I am not doing it. I'm going to go down here and sit in the other little, this is really hard with one hand, the other little garden that he found that's really, really safe and really nice, and it's got a nice comfortable rock for me to sit on. These old garden terraces are hundreds of years old, and the ones around this area here have been completely abandoned over the years. They're pretty hard to get to, and the pathways have just completely overgrown. And everybody's forgotten about them. There's only a couple of people that we know that remember these gardens here, this one and the one that Carlo's going to now, and they've all said that the other one is pretty dangerous to get to, so I'm not even going to risk going there. And I don't really like Carlo going there either, and I definitely don't like the dogs going there, so that's why India's now tied up. The reason they had these garden terraces was because this was the only way they could get food. People had to grow and cultivate their own food because they didn't have enough money to pay for anything, and often in those days they had big families. Carlo's mum has lots of stories. She was actually the youngest of 16 born children, and she has some stories about her father going out searching for food to feed their huge family, and they didn't have any land of their own. So anybody who did have land would cultivate on it, no matter how hard it would get to. I mean, they'd spend the whole day going there and getting back again, and they would quite often even walk across to the next village or up the mountain to the village on the other side of the mountain to get potatoes and all sorts of things. So it was a hard life back then, and we've now discovered one of the old gardens from many, many years ago that nobody really knows about.
Okay. I'm back, Nicki.
Okay.
Sorry for wait for me. It's too windy for follow me the drone because the wind, come si dice, spostava il drone da un'altra parte.
Ok.
Adesso vi facciamo vedere una casa abbandonata. Ok, qui dentro c'è una cisterna, un raccoglitore di acqua originariamente. Adesso ovviamente non c'è l'acqua, c'è solo terreno. La vedete, è smaltata bene. Prima era a prova d'acqua, prima che si crepava il muro lì. Questa invece è ed era la finestra originale. C'è una bella vista da qua. Ah, infatti. C'è Nicki, eccola là. Aspetto che esco di casa e ti vengo incontro. Io trovo affascinante solo il pensiero che qui c'erano delle persone che vivevano, lavoravano. È tutto così interessante. Poi nella mia testa mi faccio come delle specie di film, pensando che ero io 100 e più anni fa lavorando questi giardini e mettendo le cose a coltivare. Volevo darvi questa notizia. Questi terreni sì, sono abbandonati, nel senso che non viene nessuno qua, ma hanno dei proprietari. quindi non sono terreni di libero accesso. Io ho dovuto chiedere il permesso per venire qua e anche filmare e anche aggiustare il sentiero, quindi non sono sentieri purtroppo aperti a tutti e non sono nemmeno in vendita per quello che ne so io.
Here we're back in the riverbed, so we're going to cross back over the river and up where Michele told Carlo that there was an abandoned hidden staircase that nobody knew about, and Carlo found it and has cleaned it up, and we can now walk up and down it. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen a bit of this already because I have showed it there, but it's a little bit scary.
Dai, venite qua.